The Professors is brought to you by Blackborder.com. The site features everything from articles by pros Gerard Fabiano, Nico Boni, Joel Calafel, Yann Massicard, podcasts, the Ask the Pro and Ask the Judge features, forums, a deck building tool, and more. So go check out Blackborder.com today. Hello everybody and welcome to yet another episode of The Professors. Today we're picking up where we left off, once again talking about the new set. Zendikar is here and I've had multiple successes with the Creatures of the Night. We'll detail the standard deck card by card, word by word, and play by play. So let's draw. Last week the pre-release show crashed.
I like the designs of Zendikar. I like the fact that they brought back Kicker. I think Kicker's really cool. I think a lot of the good Kicker cards are along the lines of Vines of Vastwood.
However, an article still showed up at Blackborder.com. It discussed how I built the standard vampire deck and why. The article covers a huge pretense of the metagame. But if you want to see last week's coverage, I suggest you click back to my article or this one by Yann Massicard for the construction process. Let's begin by comparing the two lists. Here's mine. And here's Yann's. Comparatively, mine was built for an aggro setting, while Yann splashes green for Maelstrom Pulse, plays 4 come into play tapped lands, and aims to win more in the later game with cards like Vampire Hexmage, dominating quests and planeswalkers, and that 1 extra Bloodchief Ascension to pocket remaining necessary damage. The biggest advantage of this build over an aggro standpoint is the Pulse. Maelstrom Pulse is huge versus other vampires the deck is otherwise unable to deal with. Any of the 5 Ascensions, all having potential to show up in Type 2, yes, even the blue one, and can even take down something like Eternity Vessel in this more and more fabled Sanguine Bond deck I like to think will show up somewhere. However, on the other side of the splash green style deck is my build. I made a point throughout the 4,000 words of this article that your motive in play is to, against every deck that isn't running at you in red, kill them quickly, perhaps with flyers, granted by our Nocturnas as early as turn 4, but against the red decks to stall for a little, try and gain card advantage, then get ahead in the race so that their lightning bolts get them -2 and you only 1, and so that their elemental appeal token killed by your Hideous End lets you drain. But before we test the game with the deck, let's get into the details of play. Lacerator appears the obvious fit. He bashes in for 2 for 1. In comparison to Goblin Guide, he doesn't have the haste or the crazy beats that fit in the red deck, but he's got the mid-game beats thanks to our friend the Nocturnas, and is half the fuel you need to play Feast of Blood. Most decks play Tendrils over Feast. However, as Feast is half the cost, despite Tendrils being an instant, Feast allows you to pick up on card advantage in the aggro format with Sign in Blood the same turn or bring another creature. Creatures have always been the key cards in aggro v aggro, and the margin of win in this standard is far enough that 4 life for 2 mana less versus later damage that possibly isn't even enough to kill plus 3 to 6 life is the optimal play. All these are additional examples of why not to play Tendrils of Corruption. Not popping a fetch land can become this huge. Yes, the life loss can become this huge versus any deck that losing just because you tried to cast a spell costing more than what your curve out isn't right. Crypt of Agadeem probably seems out of place as this build doesn't include Sorin Markov or Blood Tribute. Playing 2 though is already on the downscale, and I've considered running just 1 as come into play tapped in a 22 land deck is a tad dismal. It's mostly here to help you get to a 4th turn Malakir Bloodwitch, which is what it does from time to time and is just fine. Running 6 fetches is what I've found best testing online though, once again with the power of soldiers and the red decks running around both budget builds, not involving the costly Metaslayer Angel or Black Lotus Cobra should be expected around. With 22 lands, you just can't run all 8 for thinning, and 6 is pushing it. I'd consider revising the number to 4, if not for the fact that they apply pressure even heavier and make a turn 4 clock more likely and top decking gas more promising. Talking top decks, Sign in Blood isn't for you to just top deck the win. As a shock to the face, it's worked for me as a Bloodchief Ascension enabler capable of, even through discarding, letting you win with an empty field and a seemingly lost comeback. Our other important removal spell, thought to be below Doomblade for the double black and later gameplay, has percolated to the top with the instant speed Bloodchief Ascension trigger on the opponent's turn, and acting as a 1-card combo towards the control road. Gatekeeper's your pseudo-removal spell that's also a 4/3 flyer for 3 black. He smashes, he kills off creatures, and is a 2-for-1 on defense. Though, he's not my favorite 3-drop. That spot goes to the Nighthawk. I'd call him Batman, but the name's taken. The only thing I could ask of Robin is to cost 3 black and be a 4/3, though I suppose for power creep issues, a 2/3 for 2 black and a 1 is fine and dandy. This card marks the edge of the deck, the gray matter areas where more explanation and more playtesting is required. A 1/1 for 1 in this deck plays horribly, particularly with 12 1-drops, but 3/2 fear creatures, which these will be, annihilate creatures that make you sack a land, and even 4/5s on offense that are 0/1s on defense. As the last card of the deck to detail, Duress is the important lockpick as the replacement for Thoughtseize and undermines the Day of Judgment and Volcanic Fallout strategies that work to undermine the aggro synergy we aim to set up. Now, let's test some games. Quest for the Gravelord's pretty important in this matchup, especially because it doesn't look like he has any creatures in the deck. So, swapping out for Hideous End right now seems just fine. Soulstare Expedition is an interesting choice. I think we're going to swap out 2. I think we can go for all 3 for Face the Blood. We both go to 5. He plays the Dragon Skull Summon. We're going to play the Marsh Flats. Goes to the Gravelord. He plays the anti-fetch lands, Vampire Nighthawk. I'm actually willing to trade the Nocturnas for the Nighthawk if we do reveal Black card, which we don't. He's going to terminate the Nocturnas. We have a replacement Nocturnus. Cool, we have a black card. Now I can swing for 9. He's going to Burst Lightning. He gets a Vampire Hexmage. I see no reason not to attack here. So it's starting to look a lot like the deck that we're playing right now. We play the Malakir Bloodwitch, and it's pretty game over. So until next time, this is Anthony Palmerio. Tapped out for now, but we'll untap soon.